Today, I'm going to be showing you how to make something really bouncy and pretty unique for a pyrex whippa beat. I don't feel like making an intro, so let's just go. So I'm going to be using this loop. I'm not actually going to be using that part of the sample though, I'm going to be using this part. I don't know why, I just like it a lot better. If you want to get this sample pack, I'm going to leave a link to it in the description. It's completely free, I just found it on YouTube, and it's really good. I'm just going to chop out all the stuff I don't want, and I'll be back with you in a second. So for this beat, I decided to do like a chorus, long verse, chorus type thing. And it ended up being about 2 minutes long. Put a soft clipper on your master, I swear. So I want to go for something really unique and bouncy, so I'm not going to use just like a standard clap, you know. I'm going to use something a little bit different. Not too different, just like slightly out of the ordinary. I really like this one. Normally, if I were to make these beats, I'd just do something like this, copy over, you know, easy. But sometimes you don't want that. If for whatever reason I wanted to make this a drill beat, I'd shift it over about this much. Like that gives it a different rhythm. So one thing I like to do is hit Control X and do this. It creates a really different rhythm and it gets the listener to pay attention, because if I just had the normal clap pattern, you wouldn't think anything of it. To make it even a little bit more different, you could add something like here. I like that. Now, I'm not saying you should do this on every beat, because you definitely should not. That takes away its uniqueness. On this beat, if I wasn't making this video, I would probably just go with the standard clap pattern. I think I'm gonna add one at the very end. Now, normally my next instinct would be to add some hi-hats. Just get a random one in and just... But that's not the way I like to make these beats. What I like to do is I like to get all of the percussion down, then do the 808s, and then do the hi-hats. The reason I do this is because it really gets the bounce down, and sometimes the hi-hats just make it too busy already. What I'm going to do now is probably add some snares and rims. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to Alt-R these snares, because I think that could add something different. It's the really subtle things that makes these beats actually stand out, because the rest of them just sound the same. I want some reverb on that last one. That's it. I think I have enough percussion sounds, so now I'm going to move on to some open hats. I use this open hat in like every beat. I think I'm going to replace that. I'm going to add one more sound and then I'm going to move on to the 808s. Alright, here's what we got so far. I think that's really bouncy. I'm really liking it. Let me just save this. So in this style, there are two types of 808s. There's the really fast 808s like these. As you can see, there's a lot of notes in this. And there's also the pretty slow 808s. As you can see, there's not nearly as many. Slide all these down, turn up the sustain, and then turn down the release a little bit. So I get that initial punch, and then if I want to, I can have the rest of the 808 go. I think that's a pretty good pattern to start off with. I think this is a pretty good pattern to start off with. I'm gonna let it play once and then start getting into the cooler stuff. So one benefit of doing this weird clap pattern is that now you can actually put your 808s in this area, because previously it would have clashed with the clap and made it sound weird. So now I could put an 808 there or something. Okay, I think this is a good enough pattern. I'm going to put this up 3 semitones so I can hear the 808s better and have them just sound better in general. So now I'm going to change 808 notes where I think it fits. So I changed up the pattern a little bit, and I'm going to put it back down. So I'm not really liking the way these are sounding anymore, so what I'm going to do is instead of having this, I'm going to turn the hold all the way up and these all the way down. Sometimes one works better than the other. It sounds more natural. There you go. I'm going to turn all the percussion back on. Alright, some of these open hats are really annoying me. I'm going to mix a little bit. I'm not that good at mixing, by the way. Okay, so now that that sounds a little less horrible, we're going to move on to the hi-hats. This is my favorite hi-hat. I'm going to start off by manually putting in a couple notes there, and then going into the piano roll. So now I have just 1 bar of these. The first thing I like to do is bring like an octave hi-hat down or something. I'm gonna shift this over so we have a 2-bar loop. I'm gonna add in some roll. So now I'm gonna copy this over again, and we're gonna change up this area. And we're gonna do the same thing again. Alright, so now that we have this hi-hat pattern, I'm going to go into the panning and start messing with this. Alright, that's good. I added this mixing preset from this Possessions kit I got, the Mad Max hi-hat. So I split the pattern by channel, and now I'm just going to arrange. A lot of people don't realize this, but arrangement is just as important as like mixing or patterns. Well, I mean, not just as important, but it's in third place. If you don't have a good arrangement, everyone's going to be bored. I really like this beat. Just listen to it. It's pretty interesting for a pyrex whippa type beat, but if I were to just hit Control B throughout the entire thing, it's not going to be as good to listen to. An artist is not going to want to use your beat if they are bored. However, you also don't want to go too crazy because then they can't rap over it. Then you got to think about your drops and what sounds you're using, whether melodies or drums. It's a lot. What I like to do is try to keep it as interesting as possible while using enough sounds. So for the drop, it sounds like that. Like, that sounds good. Some simple things you could do would be to maybe just cut all of this off by like one bar. Another thing I like to do is add sounds in the second part of the chorus, so I have all of the sounds playing in the second part. So maybe I'll take out the open hats for this part. Like, it'll still drop really well, but it'll also drop here. For the verse, in pyrex whippa type beats, because they're usually so bland and basic, I always like to make a second 808 pattern. Sometimes during my verses I like to add notes, but for this one I'm going to remove some. Usually during my verses I keep my hi-hats and my claps and then add maybe 2 percussion elements maximum. I do have a bit of a longer verse on this one though, so I'm gonna add all of this and then subtract from here as well. And then finally, just put this back over here, and we're done with the arrangement. Now this beat will not be nearly as boring as if I had just copy and pasted all of the drum sounds over and over. Add your automation, attempt to get a good mix going, add some effects, add some more automation, and the beat should be finished. I hope this video wasn't too long, and I hoped it helped somewhat. I don't know what I'm trying to do with these videos, man. I hope you enjoyed the beat. Maybe I'll upload it. Probably not. See ya.